Good morning, folks. It's 7:44 a.m. on the 28th day, 8th month, 2021. Having a look here at tropical cyclone Ida. The first thing I always look is, what does the name mean? The name is as you can read right here, means industrious or prosperous. Okay, well, prosperous for who? Let's have a look. Okay, I had a really good look last night on NASA Worldview, so I'll go to that one now. It seems to run okay with this computer if I'm patient. This is the last image I have on NASA Worldview that I can really zoom in on everything. Straight away, I see lots of chembomb deployments, not the standard jet plane type. This will be the artillery method that's sanctioned on page 13 of the Paris Accord governance document, paragraph 1, last sentence. Go look. Okay, I'll zoom in now, slow onto these chembombs, and let you have a look here over these, what the pirates of the Caribbean are doing. They're pillaging and plundering the livelihood of everybody down here. Look what's getting Gitmoed. This is Guantanamo Bay. In case you didn't know where Guantanamo Bay, Cuba was, this is right here. I'm going to zoom back a bit now so you can see more of the Caribbean. This stuff has to funnel in. So as this goes over the ocean waters and interacts with the atmosphere, it will have various effects of pulling up moisture with it, putting catalysts in that electromagnetic frequency can interact with, so that they can get the weather to do what they want. They can own it by 2025 if you look up a document called Owning the Weather by 2025. You'll see that document, but I've never been able to prove the validity of it. But watching them owning the weather, it's well talked about. Kennedy talked about it. Johnson talked about it. I'm talking about presidents. Operation Popeye and things like that. If you look up, that was a weather operation from Vietnam. Hope you can hear me all right. I need another drink of this delicious coffee. Thank you very much. Somebody said they saw a big explosion today in one of the feeds. I'm going to point out what that is. That's a chembomb wake deployment. And if I get lucky, in the end here, I'm going to click this tab, which often makes the screen buffer. Right. I'm going to show you where the storm is fed to go. Because to show you how they feed a storm, I'm going to have to go back quite a few days. But this storm actually started with a dust storm coming off the Sahara many days ago. Because that dust kept this thing going all the way across. Now you can see right here, that was the Guantanamo Bay where we were looking a moment ago. Sorry, I'm moving around. Look at this big, huge swath of chem put in the path of this low pressure system. And at the point I looked at it last night, its intensity as far as millibars of pressure in the center were very low. Not very low. They were 997, 998. They weren't at, and they say sea level is 1013 is 1013 is sea level pressure. So you can tell if a big pressure drop. For a category 3, I'd expect to need pressures of 960 and below. And you'll clear out the eye about then. And until then, you won't really clear the eye out very well in a man-made storm. All right, you see the chembombs here yet? I'm trying to just leave it so you could look. Square. Not naturally occurring cloud formation going in here. All these winds should be funneling in towards this circulation. But all I see is a triangulation of ideas in squares. I mean, these are some chem method of deploying a chemical catalyst in the atmosphere that will affect this storm, that will affect these islands. A lot of good coffee in Jamaica. It used to be one of the most famous coffees. Was it Blue Mountain Coffee? I'm talking about coffee because one of my followers sent me some coffee pouches. Really is quite a treat. I won't have to drink the toxic Nescafe. It can gather dust. See this deployed chem? That's what it looks like after that stuff that was very sharp and edgy looking that you could well define looks like when it spreads out. Sometimes all it takes is 10 minutes or so. If you see a method going along over the top of you, it's often very easy to point out to somebody that that should disperse. Or watch what this does now. It could, and with a stopwatch you can show a lot. This is a boom. Something came from here, an epicenter, and deployed something that went out, that went boom, 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 at the exact same part, distance from the center of the radius here, or the radii. They'll get technical with me. It's been a long time since I've been to school, because I've been teaching myself this every day. You see that look underneath? That's that microwave popcorn clouds. That's that EMF keeping this alive. But as it's going into the Caribbean, the waters are quite warm, and a lot of natural things can occur that continue to fuel this storm. So yeah, this is a dangerous one. I do see this as a dangerous one. The warm waters off of the coast of New Orleans are actually 1 degree Celsius higher than the rest of the Gulf around it. And as it heads towards Louisiana, the warm ocean water should pull that storm to the west slightly of New Orleans. But the worst winds and damage will be to the east side, always in the northern hemisphere, in a storm moving that direction. That's all I got to say about that. You know why? Because when you got a motion like this, right? This side of that circle is going towards the motion that's going, and this is going away. So the winds, you would actually subtract the forward motion of the wind this way and adds that way. Think about that. So if the wind is 80 miles an hour, but you have a forward motion of 10 miles an hour, the forward motion on this side adds 10 miles an hour, so that'd be 90. And the forward motion on this side would subtract it, so you'd end up with 70. It's just how these circulation storms and mathematics in them. Ain't no such thing as conservation of energy. Yeah, I think Newton got that wrong, but isn't there one oppressor university that upholds that theory too? We got pastors being held up. A lot of money involved in that, by the way. When Newton challenged his university, he copped it. And now everybody cops it when they challenge him. They never learn his lessons. The science is not to be copped. So down here is where it is that day, and I showed you the chem. Day before, it's over here. Watch. I thought I'd do a different kind. Everybody always looks at what's the storm doing today. Well, let me show you how they make one. Right? You see how it's all stretched out and elongated here? The circulation has been flattened by heart blasts. Those would be the big blasts that we've been seeing on the Mimic TPW2 feed, which I don't have the computer to run it, or I would have all that up here and showing you. Okay, believe me. But I've been watching. Because I studied geoengineering for over a decade. I've been watching this stuff. Big plumes were put in front of this to feed it. I was trying to figure out, how do I describe to you guys, what do I look at? See the boom boom plumes? So the artillery method, not the jet trail going on by and that way everybody seems to concentrate on. I'm talking the one that does the most plausible deniability of all flare deployments. You can have a great big thing that just shoots cold pellets in the air as it goes by, like one of them old fertilizers you'd walk behind on your lawn. Put one of them on the back of a jet, and you can cover an area. Because as it falls, it's moving too, and it's covered. Because not all this is like going in a circle up above. I imagine some of this is going down. It's actually falling, covering a tube of atmosphere, if you will. And some of these will be, as they fall, making a coma or comet type look, where I would see a center nuclei in a streamer. Okay, that's when I talk about chembomb deployments, and that's a chembomb. Lower deck here, you can see these microwave clouds. Some people call them plasma inductions, but the interference pattern that they dub cloud streets, and they kind of do look like that when you're in a jet plane flying. There's microwave cloud. Yeah, see the chembomb method over here. This is horrendous. This is the crime against everybody on those islands already, as they've decided to distract you guys right now with a great big storm to watch on TV. And boy, is that going to sell a lot of Orville Redenbacher and Dominoes. The toxicity of our cities. So now here we are in the Caribbean Sea. We have a big mass of crap. We're on the 25th of August, right, in this image. So as we go to the, it's just one big crap show, isn't it? You want to see the dust storm that started it? Because they bring them over in dust storms. And there's another one behind it. And you see the dust right here? This big plume in front of it? This is part of what makes up these storms. These silicas, these toxins of whatever's in that desert sands is being whipped out and split, actually. A lot of times they split and send some up to Europe. And here you can see how that plume is just circulating out here, waiting for anything that comes along, has its particulates in the air. I'm going to go back a day. I can get really good. Watch this storm. This is the birth. I think it happened around the 20th. It'll give me a moment. Here. How do you make a hurricane? This would be Ida right here on the 22nd. It's been absolutely blasted with HARP. You see that shock wave there? You see how one came down, a blast came from the north, pinned the storm this way, and it takes all that chem, acts like a snowplow, and pulls it. It cleared it there. This has folded this. It's folded this over, and the momentum of this moving has it'll just run over the top of that. And it'll collect it all in, like rolling a cotton candy on a cone at a freaking circus. And well, this is the psycho circus going on. You want to see the dust storm when it was real heavy? Making Ida. See it? And there's layers I can watch to show me the Saharan dust over on this one. And if we get fortunate, we'll see that. And even then, the chem has been laid. It is there. This is a chemicane. Chemicane Ida. And that driving wind with all that sand in it, you think I ain't going to sandblast things? You think it isn't going to corrode your environment and fill them with microplastics and stuff and paints and shit that's on the sides of buildings? If you don't think it's going to do that, why don't you think about that? Ooh, here's a great shot of EMF energy. When I see a scatter pattern like that, that tells me there's a ship at sea out here. And those are microwave nucleated clouds. My goodness. Yeah, that's not individual boom, 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 boom. Because this is the boom, boom, boom. Here, let me take that off. And that's on the 23rd. So let's go back to today. The last image I have for today would be this one. And instantly that area of the ocean, they're setting up something else. And that's off Africa. We're in the middle of nowhere that needs the rain. You know where it needs the rain? All these places on fire over here need the rain there, Mr. Geoengineer. Right, as I look at the big picture from today, as I look at the United States of America and the ocean, first thing I see is this curve of microwave energy. This will cause an outflow, this direction and this direction. The outflow from this direction will prevent this storm from going anywhere up too far that way at this time. I have to throw in those words, at this time. This storm is absolutely 100% fed to go here. Another thing I noticed when I zoom way back, I'm going to just do that in a minute. If you look at this pattern of energy here, you see this gap? It makes a square in my head. I see a square edge to this energy. And then other microwave from the local NEXRADs, and you will watch your NEXRADs as this gets closer to shore. I don't have access to those feeds here anymore. Somebody's got a good link to the new COD one that doesn't run on the old system when they got rid of JavaScript. Please let me know. I can't run it. I want to show you. I have the next lab one, but it won't advance. I can't advance to which station I want. Boo! Hey, Mike, pop me a link. There you go. We all work together. If we ain't working together, we'll never get together. Period. That is all. My goodness. Look at the gap of energy. They're giving you the 1-2 punch. I call this move the 1-2 punch. First they soggy the land, and then they send in the Windmaker. Yep, you guys are going to cop it. There goes your rice. There's a rice destruction event impossible. In Houston, look what you got over the top of you. You got a little bit of a man-made storm going on. So what's that telling me? This is rotating in this direction, right? That'll tend to stall this. It's like look at like two spinning things next to each other. You can even do it with a couple pencil erasers. And you can make a move in your fingers. And you'll see how they can generate a pinch point, right? This pinch point is making a vortex that's going to kind of tend to move things up in this direction. The momentum of the atmosphere, of the waves, and everything in this area is pushing up this direction. So this will have an easier path in this direction. It's kind of like following a boat or when you follow a truck on the highway. It gives you that draft. Well, this is kind of like storm drafting, and I see that often. And they laid a lot of chem down here. They're planning on rotating it in. That's taking the moisture from here. That's taking the moisture from your trees and your swamps, sticking it up in the atmosphere for this thing to eat. And the desiccant or whatever's that's in this load here will assist in that. And microwave pulses can move the energy. I know I documented well how the NextRads of Florida here, especially Tampa when it gets to about here, can either deflect this way or that way very easily by its energy pulses. So we'll be watching for that. You'll get your usable. The NextRad is down. Not working. So right, I'm going to zoom in a bit here on Chemicane area. I seen something fishy yesterday. It was this pulse right here over New Orleans area. See this here? Right. For 48 to 36 hours right in there, this area of the center of this square will stay agitated. That means its waveform will move straight up and down from the ground into the sky like this. And it excites all the molecules around it, and they'll kind of get a pull up and down, so you'll have oscillations in here. And that area will be a little warmer. When the oscillation stops, this area around it tends to come in towards it. As that area cools down, it becomes a lower pressure. Everything else around it, it's agitated, is still a higher pressure. Following me? So, this also will act as a suction. Oh my. Not good at all for New Orleans. Not good for the rice supply. And where they're going to take it from there, I don't know. Let's see if we get lucky. And I can pull this over. Right. Here's the data I have on Ida. Let's hope everything works. And if it doesn't, I left it for the end, so hope it'll be easier to chop out. Right, here's the plan. The plan is, just before it hits, this sucker's Cat 4. I said I didn't see Category 3. All the conditions are for a higher storm. And as we've seen through wintertime, once it goes inland and leaves ocean waters, it doesn't make a difference. A landocane can continue. The making of the pressure differences is what makes the storm. Okay? So if I put on the information here of the intensities, we've got, it's not super low pressure at all. It's a very disorganized one. These never agree. Go tell me how accurate your stats are. But these two match fairly close. It's still not low enough to have a good nothing. It's hardly even a Category 1 yet. Only its winds right now are making it a tropical storm hurricane. That's the only thing. Well, that, and they want the title on the storm. There's something to do with patenting storms and money. Right, here's your infrared look at the storm. Right, I'm going to get rid of the projected path. And if I'm lucky, you can see this. I don't have a moving one of it, unfortunately. Actually, I should be able to get that. Well, that's a current look at that. It's infrared. It's not that impressive yet. You got two big squares back here, rectangles, separate deployments and separate outflows of energy. So that tends to help a rotation. You ever put fingers on a table, everybody sitting around it, and as one person moves their finger off the table will start to rotate? Well, it's the same principle. Okay, that's what you got there. Visible wavelengths. It's big chem deployment there, I can see. So give me a zoom bit on this. It's not letting me. Boo! Okay, I'll try a different one. Hang on. Also on this page here, you can come down to different sectors of the world. You can go here, you got Saharan air mass, dust layers, and you can track where the dust is going. For here, I'd be wanting, and you got all those layers right here. Wave tracking, layering, and wind analysis, and get yourself familiar with this site. tropic.ssec.wisc.edu/. Pound symbol or hashtag mark. I don't know what you guys want to call it. The wind and wave analysis is actually a pretty. These low pressures will induce small earthquakes as well as they go by, as they pull up on not just the water, the land itself as it comes ashore, and then as it leaves, it drops that land back down. And places that are fracking and seismically active get a little bit of a boost. Right? Sometimes I could set this in motion. So let's get this. Oh, it's going to let me zoom it too. I had this one on earlier. It takes a minute to load. So while it's loading, I'll make sure the video is working. Hello, everybody over there. And yep, it's working. Right, here's let's zoom. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Everybody got zoom, zoom, zoom. Stop. Gonna let me change wavelengths and all. Okay, as we look at this feed here, I don't want to take that off. I don't want to loop it. It's hard to read. It's jumping high. Right, here's as it came over the island recently. Now I see a flattened out area here. I'm going to pick out the pulses for you. This is where I'm going to bust their microwaves. Just give me a minute to read this. There we go. We got a big, huge microwave square here. That'll be the NexRads reacting all in unison, making squares. Then it's off. Boom. So the energy's there, the outflow's there. It's pinned that moisture there on that side of Florida. That can cross Florida and then be eaten by this as it comes along. Let's see. Did it happen? They cut it. Boom. Blast through here. Separated that moisture. Just connect the curves in your head. If you had a compass that wouldn't scratch your computer screen, you'll see what I'm seeing. You know what I mean? So just put it down and draw your arcs. Ships at sea. Oh my. You guys are going to cop it. Look at that burst right there. That's the New Orleans NexRad kicking off. And that's like one of those curved beams. That's like you're seeing a Birkeland strand current. That's evidence that they've drawn down a Birkeland strand, which is part of the electrolink with our atmosphere and the sun. Filaments. So yeah, they're bringing out all their games, boys. You guys are going to cop it. Get you some rice now. They're destroying it. How does he know just by looking at that? If you guys know how many years I've been rating NexRad radars and radar screens, you'd never ask that question. Hey Gregory, check these images out. Do you see this pulse out here? This big, huge blast came up. Watch. Watch over there for a minute. Can I pull it over? Right, that's going to interact and push this storm out into the Pacific. That'll cyclone its way across and let Hawaii talk about that in about a week. Storms are big distractions. They sell a lot of plywood. Okay, so I'm going to move through that. That post didn't last very long. So I'll list. Wow. And that's a big bust, that. It's not really time stamping me. But this is the 2-day image. So there you go. So I'm going to cut that off. Cut it out. And I'm going to show you that you've got on. Here she is. Ida. Prosperous Ida. Square. Man-made. Chemfoolery cane. It ain't just to realize they realize to realize. Sometimes to realize to realize when their lives are destroyed. And well, mercy on these people in the path of that. It's happening. It's happening. They've chembombed Gitmo. Big love. Peace.